Getting ready to go, Fujo?
I think, with this being a resale shop, they got the higher brand stuff,
So for safety reasons, what officers will probably have is a drone that'll be attached to the top of the car. A drone that probably has some type of accelerating power to go, 200-300 miles per hour. They just push a button, they lock on to target, push a button, the drone would lock onto them and could send the information to other vehicles, other troopers, things like that. That way they don't really have to risk their lives. The drone will follow them and follow the vehicle to where it goes, and then it'll relay the message to the other officer, and that officer would be able to follow them. Especially when you're dealing with bikes that are named Ninja and things like that. When you're dealing with bikes that are just way too fast, the drones will probably use height, meaning they'd be able to take off very, very, very high in the air and lock onto that target in a very strategic way. And then they could relay that message to another officer that maybe is either closer or not, and then they could just kind of just roll up with the drone still locked onto that target, and they'd have to do some kind of identifier. It'd be very complex. It'd either identify technology or maybe identify face recognition, or how it identify would be the hardest part. One thing that I thought was interesting is maybe having certain types of stun guns, similar stun guns, that could actually the vehicle and lock onto the vehicle. Or there can be in each vehicle in the future, there'd be like some type of chip in the vehicle that it could lock onto. And then that drone would be able to follow it very easily. That's probably where it's headed in the future, like RoboCop kind of thing. So the vehicle they'd be driving, the officer would be driving, would hack. I mean, it wouldn't hack, but it would have to be hacked to be stopped. But the drone would be released, and the vehicle would actually keep up with the drone's positioning. So they'd be able to track the person eventually. And if they had some type of device that could mark the person, either with some type of paint or something like that, then it'd probably be safer for the drones to sit there and maybe fly over the person and tell them, remain, where you are, we know where you are, blah, blah, kind of thing. And they would be able to track each other from that point. So it'd be more of a peaceful kind of thing. And if they tried to get away, probably the only way would be in hacking the devices first. So I guess the criminals out there would be able to deactivate the drones if they were able to get away, or they'd just be traced. The idea of Terminator versus RoboCop is basically with Terminator, you're dealing with Skynet, who kind of gained a consciousness, meaning that there's the androids or the robots, the machines that gain kind of an evil consciousness just to basically destroy. And Skynet had to be overcome. So in RoboCop, it was more of RoboCop was the hero, even though RoboCop, had to deal with humanity because it was once a person. But with Skynet, it was just a design flaw, a virus kind of flaw that was designed to wipe out any type of human person. And Terminator basically was kind of not the hero, it was the opposite of the protagonist or the antagonist. The protagonist was humanity. The protagonist was a person trying to survive against machine. So they're very similar, though, Terminator and RoboCop. The only difference may probably is the monster or the machine. One's a hero and one's the villain.
Oh, wow.
Cool. So it's about 80 women. Does anybody ever here not have kids? And 4 out of 80, right? Like, they kind of look at me like, hey, everything's going to be okay. Like, I can felt it.
You
know,
did?
I'm
Wow.
not concerned about the old people this year, but I felt it.
Yeah. So it's
So maybe
all.
that's why I left Jack Jonas today, because I need a project church. I don't want to die alone. I need a,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I'm sure you won't.
I said when I was in the restaurant, some lady across the way is like, ew, this one's a mixed group. I think I said meet up on Mondays, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't think I should do evil on men. You know, the men might, you know, think I'm hot and try to do me or something like that. So I think it's better off.
Well, I'm glad you went. That's so good.
What church was
here's-
it?
Here's Cole.
They're actually, let's see if he gets it. He's trying. Okay, they're, let's see. I can't tell on that one. It's a foreign one. I'm just looking at more for the patterns. Pennsylvania on that one. This one straight ahead, I want to say I've seen this one before, the design on it. No kidding, it's Maine. I think maybe it's Maine. No, it's Tennessee. They look a little similar. It's a Tennessee one. Maine and Tennessee look a little similar on those two. I'm just looking at the patterns of the design on the license plate. So basically, when we're doing bulb, we did it in something like this, basically like an alleyway. This is actually in kind of the Denton area right here. I guess you could say maybe Lewisville, maybe Carrollton, Denton. That's basically. We did in White Settlement, Texas. So it was a back alley. It's kind of like this kind of thing. You can see across this way there's a church right there. It has like some Asian letters on it because the Asian culture in Carrollton is extreme. There's a lot of Asian people, culture in Carrollton. So you can see the Asian thing right here. I went out and ventured out to get a haircut today. Didn't really really a lot of people at the haircutting place. If you look here, I don't know why I did that. I went out and ventured out to get a haircut today. Didn't really really a lot of people at the haircutting place. If you look here, I don't know why I did that. About basically what I mean about Carrollton. This actually church is called Sarang Church, and you can see it kind of right here, Sarang, and then there's the actual lettering of most likely maybe Korean. Here is another one that's probably Korean. Basically, I'm sitting pretty much on a speed trap kind of thing. Oh, that's interesting. Jack Kerouac on it. Well, Jack Kerouac's fat friend on a motorcycle. That's what I was talking about right here. It's a Regeneration Community Church. Basically, there's a lot of them. There's also the Song Church, which is down the road. So it's a lot of Korean, kind of Asian culture. Just got my hair cut. Great clips are pretty much a haircutting place. Here is probably more from maybe like the Orient. Because I was the only one that I spoke English, but it was good. It's a good haircut. It's a good haircut. It's very good. They did a great job. Yesterday, there's a movie released on YouTube called Color Me Kubrick with John Malkovich. Very strange. John Malkovich plays a character that states that he's Stanley Kubrick, but he's really another guy, and he's just this crazy guy running around, flaming around town. The opening's kind of good. I got into it a little bit, but it's actually been released on YouTube 1 day ago, and it is free, so it's perfectly free. You do have to watch some ads. I don't remember really seeing any ads per se. It was the middle of the night. I watched most of it without my glasses, but it was interesting to see John Malkovich, because he's one of the reasons why I pursued acting. A lot of people don't know that. It's not really Marlon Brando. Gary Oldman is one of my favorites, but for some reason it was John Malkovich that kind of really got me loving acting. Not many people really know that. And then when Being John Malkovich came out, I just flipped out. Gets my attention. Right here. Looks like kind of like an old plantation house. They actually call it the White House. Believe it or not, I got someone on my left right here, so they're gonna get like real fucking pissed off, maybe. But anyway, that's it right there. It's a little place, Lewisville kind of area. Shut up. East 300 Round Grove, and the building number is 10. And these are the ones that are split. Okay, there's a circle in the middle of this complex. Okay, it's a delivery food for friends person's nightmare, and that's kind of a cool. Maybe a Harley, maybe, possibly, right there. Can't really tell, but leave a comment. But what is that? Anyway, so there's basically a circle in the center of this place that goes into 5 different directions. And we're looking for 10. I was there just the other night. When you get here, you're gonna go a lot through these high numbers like 59, for an example. If you go over here, you're gonna see 64, right? So it's gonna spin you around. If you don't know the gate entry, then you'll just be kind of like, where in the world? So on the gate entry, I believe the far right one is gate 2. Then it goes 3, 4, 5, something like that when you enter from the other side. Now, on the other side, if I'm not mistaken, it actually says Chapel Hill. So you have one side over there, I could be wrong, that says the White House, which is probably part of the Chapel Hill. Then on the other side, you have the Chapel Hill entrance, which is a complex in Lewisville. So you can get really kind of lost in this because it's huge. And there's 5 different directions. You'll notice on the footage last night, this soccer field is actually in it on the time lapse. And there could be on my Samsung stuff as well, on the Samsung version, or on the same channel. So basically, you're looking at a huge complex that spins you around quite a bit. And the front on this side over here is actually called Chapel Hill. So the text came through and basically said I was going the wrong way. So they can actually see, there's spectrum right there. They can actually see the direction of where you're going, I guess, on their end to a certain degree. I don't know how pinpoint exact it is. But when they don't leave the gate entry on this one, it's going to lose the driver, okay? Unless they have the schematics memorized on the different directions, and that says Chapel Hill, right? Chapel Hill Leasing. On the other side, it says the White House. So we're looking for 10, and it's usually those 2 that are in the same, not the same complex. Well, no, they are. Chapel Hill and the White House are both in the same complex on different ends. It's a very big one, and it's the most complex that I've come across so far. If you have the gate entry, it's easier. It's very easy if you have the gate entry. So you got to have that on these. So what I'm looking for right here is probably gate 2, which will lead to building 10. There's gate 2 right there. A writer has to be a very good marketer to succeed, and a video reporter, or, you know, a vlogger or whatever, they have to be very still at times. The good thing about this complex is that usually there's only one building number of that number. So meaning there's only one building number 12, there's only one building number 13, there's only one building number 10. So trial trial and error. Yeah, trial and error usually is your friend on this one. That one's saying 11, and the one behind it should probably be 10, but it's actually 14. This is 11 right here. You squint real hard, you'll see that it says 11 right here. Now, that one down there should be 10. Basically, that one is 9. So what I thought would be 10 would be 9. And it's called Chapel Hill Apartments, right next to a graveyard and a radio tower. So basically we've spun around. We found 11, we found 12, we found 13, we found 9. No 10. Looking for 10. And I'm just gonna find it and just pretend like I knocked on the door and dropped it there, and I don't even have to put that in the editing. You go in a Chapel Hill complex or the White House complex, which is both, you're dealing with something very strange. This one has the pretty rainbow, which I deleted on the Samsung. See, it's a pretty rainbow. Thanks. Anyway, I found it. What appeared to be one building was actually 2 buildings. Some trash over that way. This building here looked like it was connected to that building. That's 10. That one's 11. So it was basically a mix-up. That one was 11. The one over there is actually 10. It looked like the same building, kind of like a labyrinth kind of thing. So I went around like 2 or 3 times thinking that was either 10 or 11. That's 11. The other one was 10. And on my Samsung footage, a while back, I got some rainbow footage of the fountain, and I deleted it. But I got the fountain anyway, which is right here. I have some footage there going through there on the Samsung, and got some of that fountain, I think. It's still turned off. So it was probably a little easier than I thought. I just thought building 11 was actually building 10. And building 10 was actually building 11. I basically thought that building 10 was connected to building 11. So when you go around there, there's a little gap between the 2 buildings. If you don't see that gap, then you don't know it's not another building. So it was building 10. That was the tricky one on that one. At night, it can be a little difficult. It's fairly easy, especially if the gate entry. Usually it can be pretty swift. It's not that big of a deal. And here's what the sign looks like. So I'd probably say that Peter Gabriel, Games Without Frontiers, especially Peter Gabriel, probably one of the best musicians of the last, I don't know, 100-200 years.